There are many artists in America who contributed greatly to the foundation of the civil rights movement. One such artist is photographer Robert McNeill. Using photography, he hoped to capture photos of everyday life that provided racial enlightenment and pushed for social reform. McNeill achieved his goal through the Works Progress Administration and his Washington, D.C. photographs. His work paralleled many other artists working toward the same goals. McNeill was born in 1917 to a wealthy family in Washington, D.C. Educated at Howard University and the New York Institute of Photography, he was given the opportunity to work for the Federal Writers Project, part of President Roosevelt's New Deal program during the Great Depression. Under this program, McNeill would photograph for the Negro in Virginia series, documenting Black history throughout Virginia. One of these works is New Car. This 1938 photo shows four men of color admiring their friend's new car. It shows friendship, appreciation, and pride. This uplifting photo subtly challenges the stereotypical views of blacks as unsuccessful and uncivilized. Around the same time, another photographer, James Vanderzee, also created a similar photo called Couple in Raccoon Coats in 1933. This photograph also challenged racial stereotypes of the 1930s with an uplifting message of accomplishment and high social class. This photo not only uses the car, but also uses the people's clothing to establish social status. McNeill captured both the accomplishments and hardships of African Americans in Virginia. His 1938 photo, Spring Planting, shows the harsh reality for field laborers in Virginia. This photo shows an older man defined and limited by society to a hard life of agricultural labor. Even though these two photographs are showing opposite narratives, their message of racial justice is the same. One shows the productive possibility of African Americans, while the other shows their suppression by society unable to become successful. Because McNeill worked for a federally funded agency, he was limited on the intensity of his work. His imposed goal was to capture the life of blacks in Virginia, but without using images that were controversial for a white audience. Where McNeill did have more freedom was his private endeavor to capture life in Washington, D.C., his hometown. Here, he studied things like street corner culture, which Negro in Virginia editors were not fond of. Another black photographer in the 1930s and 40s was Gordon Parks. He used photography for the same purpose as McNeill, saying, "Even the cheap camera I had bought was capable of making a serious comment on the human condition," in an interview with Marie Bernier at University of Chapel Hill. Parks, also part of the WPA for a short period of time, was known for providing powerful images of change, hope, and uplift, which could transform the lives of African Americans. Unlike McNeill, Parks did not shy away from violence and conflict due to racism. During this time, the foundation for the civil rights was being assembled. African American art was no longer imitating Eurocentric perspectives. It had a distinct identity of its own, which acted like a shield against discrimination. One of Parks's most famous photographs, one that would be a symbol of the pre-civil rights era, was American Gothic in 1942. This iconic image shows the viewer a symbol of democracy and justice using the American flag while showing an economically and socially limited woman. She, like many people of color, seemed to be forgotten by democracy as the flag overpowers her and the tools of her labor define her. Parks's powerful image was used as a depiction of discrimination by people of color in America. This was the most powerful image Parks took because, like McNeill, he was also part of a federally funded program. This struggle was expressed by McNeill in an interview with Nicholas Nansen for Prologue magazine, where he said, "They, the editors, did not want me to rock the boat." With the majority of African Americans in the South living a second-class lifestyle, this was no easy feat. James Wright is another successful black photographer in the 1930s and 40s. Like Parks and McNeill, he started a successful photography career in the Federal Works Agency. He faced hardships and restrictions while in the WPA. In an interview, he describes one of the biggest challenges being his color. He described the constant surveillance by whites waiting for him to stumble. Limitations like these are what fueled Parks, McNeill, and Wright to push for social reform.